Whoop 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 whoop. Sound loop. Hi, good evening. Welcome back. Happy 2nd of November, the best month of the year. And we are back with another reading skills workout and dealing with the biggest complaint ever, that philosophy and what to do about it, etc. Though I have already covered this idea multiple number of times, I shall do that again today. Otherwise, how are you guys and what's up? The sheet link for this particular discussion is available in the chat link as well as the description box below. Please find it. If you're a non-member, use the preview and download the file for later purposes. And if you're a member, then the file is always available there. Hi, 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 hi. Good evening. Good evening. What's up? Today we are going to learn about the motivations of artists and subject words like subjective, objective, and dialectic, etc. Though our task is not really that, our task is just to score a few points. So always keep that in mind while you're dealing with such information. But our secondary task as a global citizen is to learn about such things. So we'll learn also. Find the link, open the sheet, read a little bit, and then, or just find the link and open the sheet and let me know that you have done so. The holidays are still going on or what? Or was the earlier DILR too much? Meanwhile, I shall adjust the screen and stuff. Hi, good evening. Have you found the sheet? Or have you already done this? Good evening, good evening. That's why I keep these first 5 minutes for just highs and hellos. Highs and hellos. Done, very interesting passage. I did not understand completely, but questions were simple. Yeah, so a lot of times you have to remember. I seriously recommend reading philosophy and generally inquiring about the world for everyone, generally. But we also have a little bit of a micro immediate task, which is the exam that everybody is dealing with, right? So there, for the purposes of the exam, remember your task orientation, remember your reading skills. You have to just find a couple of lines, find the main idea, and then you're good to go towards the question, and then evaluate according to choices, etc. Right? That means the focus, the task orientation focus is very, very necessary. and not getting lost in the passage. That was like day one observation in all of these journeys. So we'll work out the passage and we'll try and understand it as well after working out the questions, or maybe while doing so we'll understand. And while doing so, I still want to apply my usual reading skills ideas, right? So now let me make myself a little smaller, and hi Anubhav, hi HII, extra I, hi. So this passage is philosophy slash art, or philosophy of art, or general of philosophical oriented discussion as such. It's not, it's basically about the artist's choice, though it will feel like a philosophy passage as such, right? So I'm assuming that everybody has found the sheet and they are looking at it, and let's work with it together. Even if you have figured it out, don't worry, this will be a good run of your, I will repeat all the essential ideas for better reading anyway. So I start with the first paragraph, or let's say somebody was saying that when the passage is text is the dense and heavy, it's difficult to start from the bottom. So just as an experiment, let's start from the bottom. The dialectic is nowhere more apparent than in the art of writing. So what is the question that comes to mind? The dialectic, which dialectic? And I am also guessing that most people do not know the meaning of the term dialectic. Am I right in that guess? Or I am asking you, what is the meaning of dialectic? It's a very seemingly complicated word, but the idea is quite easy. So lesson number 1 for everybody, let it be permanently drilled home and imprinted on a tattoo, is that invest in building a kick-ass vocabulary as a lifelong habit, not only for the exam. Waiting for the meaning of the word dialectic, if anybody knows, or you can search the Google Dev and come back. So a little bit of a trouble here, but the dialectic is nowhere more apparent. That means something is very apparent in this particular art of writing. So what is that something would be my idea, and I can start my journey from the bottom as well. So let me see. There is a big thus, and thus is very interesting, especially if the passage is difficult. Why? Because after the thus, he is going to summarize the idea, and if I look at it, it's a pretty big paragraph, right? So he is summarizing the whole thing maybe here. Thus, let me read it. In the perception, okay, difficult words, but what does perception mean? When you perceive, when you look at an object. What is an object? A tree is an object. So when you look at a tree, you are perceiving the tree. The object, what do we mean by an object? The tree is the object, because you are the subject, you are watching the tree is the object of your focus, is given as the essential thing. Okay, so let me read it again, because I do not know what it means. In the perception, the object is given as the essential thing, and the subject as inessential. So something is essential and something is inessential. So can I, even if I am struggling, let's say even if I have never read art, philosophy, anything, can I reduce my understanding to this much? Something is essential and something is not essential. What is essential? The object is essential and the subject is inessential. Where? In the perception. So let me maybe highlight it. Yeah, slow computer, not slow computer, slow software. And the latter, now this becomes a see a pronoun, ask a question, because former and latter, the object came before, the subject came latter. So the latter, that means the subject. It would make more sense if I remove this latter and just write the subject? Did this replacement make sense? And this is where people falter. A pronoun pops up, they do not know what it or this latter refers to, and yet they continue to read the sentence, and the comprehension or understanding goes lower and lower. Are we okay with what happened here and what I'm trying to do? I'm sticking to my see a pronoun, ask a question, hashtag rule. So subject, because object and subject, let me highlight them also, and not only highlight them, maybe give them different color so that I see very clearly. I will add the color in a second. And we have the subject. So these are my couple of important keywords, and notice I'm still at only a single sentence. What's the point of reading 20 sentences and not understanding? Better to grab onto something and understand it well. And it is important because this is a summary, thus. So this becomes about the importance of those conjunctions, right? Subject, okay, object and subject. Subject seeks essentiality, okay. Object was essential, subject was inessential. So essential and inessential are the other important keywords in the story. Subject seeks essentiality in the creation, in the perception, and in the creation. So maybe it is perception versus creation. And let me keep it simple. Perception means to perceive, create means to create. And obtains it. Who obtains it? The subject obtains what? Obtains the essentiality. But then it is the object which becomes the inessential. So now hopefully the idea should be very clear, and it's so binary. So there is a in the perception and there is a in the creation. So perception versus creation, and articulate for yourself. In perception, object, the object is essential, the subject was inessential, subject wants to be essential, therefore he becomes whatever tries creation, but when he tries creation, the object becomes inessential. I do not know, let's say for a minute, I do not know what this means at all, but do I have a side? Perception, creation, what is essential, what is not essential? And if I have, are we together so far? Because I think this is the central idea of the passage. Now he's saying the dialectic, which dialectic? This dialectic, that in perception, object is essential, subject is not. In creation, subject is essential, object is not. And again, become very, if you want to tackle philosophy, become very clear with the terms subject and object. When you look at a tree, you are the subject and the tree is the object. When I look at you, I am the subject, you are the object. So don't be confused by this particular term. And subjectivity and objectivity are again slightly different things, not just related to this part, right? Are we okay with just understanding this one line so far? I'm assuming yes, because very clear, distinctive idea. So let me, why not throw some color also? What color shall I throw? Perception, and in the creation maybe I will give it a blue color. This is just for fun and soul development, my soul. Today we also learned in DILR that the principal skill is patience. So right now I'm patiently waiting for this. Learning is an art form. So in the perception, object, in the creation, and I know this is the summary of the big paragraph. So what is he going to do in this big paragraph? Can you guess the content of this paragraph starting here and going till here? What is he trying to say in this very big paragraph? Articulate, use your words, say something. I just saw he said does, and he said these things, perception versus creation, subject versus object. So what do you think is happening in this big paragraph? Right, and this is what we mean by active reading, asking questions, always thinking along, and even the passage will talk about that, predicting, anticipating, always trying to map it and bag it. Anubhav says about perception. Arey, how much did we see after at the end of the paragraph? Perception, creation. In perception, object is essential, subject is not. In creation, subject is essential, object is not. So he must be giving in this paragraph explanation or elaborations or explaining why this is so, what happens in the process of creation so that the object becomes essential, or what happens in the process of perception. So you have to be a little more detailed than that, right? Kashish has gone on. Kashish says, even if we see the same thing, it means different thing to us. Guys, I am not asking for a poetic interpretation of what's there in the paragraph. I am saying I just read this does, right? And I'm not asking you to understand what this means. Object is essential, subject is not, subject is essential, object is not. All I'm saying is, can you handle this at a sentence level, that somebody is saying A is essential, B is not, and in the other stories B is essential, A is not. I want that level of understanding first of all. This interpretation I will do later, right? I hope I'm getting that point through. I want to label it as A and B and deal with it. A is essential, B is not, and in the later category, B is essential, A is not. So now I ask you again, what is going to happen in this very big paragraph? He is going to explain to me why in creation B becomes essential or vice versa, whatever label you are calling them, right? Are we okay with what I just said? So I'm not interpreting at all. I'm just holding it as a binary: perception, creation, object, subject. I don't know. Let's say even if I'm confused about object, subject, but I did see one thing is essential, other is inessential, and then later the other is essential and vice versa. Gulshan Kumar says, in perception, object is essential. In creation, subject is essential. Perfect, right? And this very big paragraph, what is going to happen? I ask you again, and I hope rhetorically also you understand. This is going to happen, what you have just read, that perception, object is essential, and in creation, the subject is essential. Okay? So stay with me, don't worry about it. Let me jump to the beginning of the paragraph. So in the beginning of the paragraph, he says, each one has his reasons. For one, art is flight, for another, a means of conquering. So I'm getting into the reason for art. But one can, who can? The artist can flee into hermitage, into madness, blah, blah, blah. Why does it have to be writing? Why does one have to manage his escapes and conquests by writing? So whenever an author raises a question like this, I know the passage is going to be an answer to this question, that why do writers write? And maybe it will not be a direct answer the way we might be expecting. It might be a little bit of a digression from the main idea. But let's see. So because behind the various aims of authors, there is a deeper and more immediate choice which is common to all of us. We shall try to elucidate this choice. Which choice? The choice which is common to us and the writer. There is a deeper and more immediate choice. Right now I do not know what that choice is or what the author means, but I know he's talking about the choice being common to both of us. He then says we shall try to elucidate this choice, and we shall see whether it is not in the name of this very choice of writing that engagement of writers must be required. So this paragraph seems like an introduction of the idea of this choice that the writer is driven by or confronted with, and he's going to analyze it, right? So now I start reading, maybe in sincere, we were a little slow in the beginning. each of our perceptions. Okay, so I did see perception and creation there. I am starting with perception here. So maybe the order is going to be perception and then creation. So let me see. Each of our perceptions is accompanied by the consciousness that human reality is the revealer. Okay, so think about the sentence, perception accompanied by, and you might not have thought about this, right? But can you deal with the idea right now that human reality is the revealer? As you deal with the idea, this is too much for bank PO, but overall the reading basics will help a lot. Please finish that, and the maths course will be very, very useful. Please go and look at that. Are we together so far? Yes or no's? Each of our perception is accompanied by this funda, whatever this funda means. Human reality is a revealer. Just hold the sentence, don't think about it too much. When I look at this, that means he's going to explain the same idea again. Human reality is the revealer. So say if you did not understand it the first go, you know he's going to explain it again. But if you did not understand it in the first go, pay attention to this. You need to know you did not understand it so that you can use it. Going passively is the worst thing possible, right? That is, it is through human reality that there is being. Human reality is the revealer. Through human reality there is being. I don't know what it means, but can I match the words? Human reality is the revealer. Human reality causes being. Or to put it differently, so notice this, that is, he's explaining it over and over again. He's not stopping after one go. To put it differently is another way of saying in another words, or that is, to put it differently, that if I did not understand that human reality is the revealer, that man is the means by which things are manifested. Now I should be getting the idea. Human reality is the revealer in different words. So just stick to the original idea. Don't interpret it, don't go left, don't go right, don't overthink. Hold your sentences, right? Now, if you know idea plus elaboration, right? And I hope anybody following this session or follow the journey, and you will know in any text we have idea plus elaboration. If I've got the idea, I should understand that elaboration is starting now. It is our presence. Now notice I will go faster. It is our presence in the world. Our presence. Whose presence? Human's presence, which multiplies relations, acts as a revealer. It is we who set up a relation between this tree and that bit of sky. Now we are going into specifics, right? This tree, that sky, object, I am the perceiver, I say how beautiful, human reality is the revealer, talia hi talia, right? But the thing to notice is how momentum comes. If I grab the idea, I will go a little faster here, and I will go into that, okay, I understand, let me go faster. It is the speed of our auto. Our auto matlab kya? Human doing reality. We connect the blah blah blah. But this but is very, very important to me, right? My reading is revolving around the but. And somebody said, how to read philosophy? And I said earlier that in that the keyword is going to be even more important. So perception, human reality is a revealer, but something is going to change. If we know that we are the directors of being, we also know that we are not its producers. So I am directing the scene, but I am not the producer. If we turn, and now again, if I get this idea that we are not its producers, he will elaborate this idea now. If we turn away from this landscape, it will sink back into its dark permanence. At least it will sink back. There is no one mad enough to think that it is going to be annihilated. That means it is the object is still there. Our looking away will not destroy the object. It is we who shall be annihilated, as in someday all humans will die, and the earth will remain in its lethargy until another consciousness comes along to awaken it. Human reality is the revealer. Without humans, there is no earth, tree, nothing, because there is nobody to perceive it. Thus, in fact, I should have just gone for this thus. Why am I putting so much effort? Thus, to our inner certainty of being revealers is added to the added of that of being inessential. Oh wow, inessential in relation to the thing being revealed. So now notice from a little bit of a distance, zoom out a little bit, perception. So big box, right? This whole paragraph is essentially perception and realizing that in our certainty of being revealers, we know we are inessential in relation to the object or the thing being revealed. Are we okay with this paragraph? Because if we are, then we have broken through. We have suddenly understood without getting lost in those details. I hope we are together so far. So I zoom out, and now what I can do is actually minimize, and this is to help with the visualization overall, that my paragraph is this much for me. It went a little 2 more steps extra. I didn't want to make it this small, but this is the size of the paragraph in my head for me. Each of our perception or in perception, we are inessential. The subject, we are the subjects. And by the way, I went into that last paragraph just by chance, because somebody was saying that it doesn't work. So I was like, why not? Let's try it. But together we have read that line: subject, essential, non-essential, and here I am getting perception. So now, can you tell me what is going to happen in the next paragraph? Perception story we have covered. What do you think will happen in the next paragraph, knowing or keeping in mind that we read this line? Or let me show you the line again if you have joined late. Yeah, if this is hitting, and if this can be executed even a little bit, a massive shift can happen in a very short period of time. Hashtag true story. I'm asking, I went through this paragraph, I saw that in our perception, we are inessential, we humans, the subject, you had to make that much of a connection. And then this paragraph suddenly becomes very compressed for me, mapped and bagged, ready in my pocket, that this is nothing but telling me that in perception, we are the revealer, but we are not essential. And I read a later summary with another thus, which was wonderful. So using these two, can I guess the approximate contents of this big, hairy, scary looking paragraph? What do you think is going to happen in this paragraph? He is, first of all, yes, start with one word, that he is going to go for the creation part. In perception, we are inessential, but in creation, we become essential. And the object becomes inessential. Earlier in perception, the object was essential, we were inessential, right? I hope I did not muddle up the order, but I hope you are smarter than I am, right? So this big paragraph, creation story, the part where object becomes inessential. Yes, right? So that's what I'm looking at as anticipation. Now my contention is, if you read with this idea that I know now I'm going into creation, etc., and that is this particular order was just by chance. This is quantum mechanics and Schrodinger's cat at play, right? So we don't worry about how I read the sentence, let's say just by chance, let's say, or in the process of preview somewhere. So using this, I could have deduced that this whole thing is going to be about creation. So somebody who was saying that philosophy I need to read linearly, in fact in philosophy you might, if you're struggling especially, you might even need even more of your deductive thinking, reasoning, clawing through kind of a tools, more than usual, right? So the keywords will become very important, tracking the pronouns will become very important, quickly understanding the idea and elaboration will obviously stand out. Are we okay so far? Okay, but just for actually because let me prioritize the exam kind of a thing first, and then I will go into this paragraph about why the object becomes inessential and we become essential. It will be a very, very interesting story, I'm sure. Try this question. The author holds that the correct choice is should be screaming at you. If there is a, and don't worry, without reading the whole thing, if I am making you do the question, there's little bit of an experimentation stage. So no fear, dive dear, mark the answer. The author holds that the correct choice is always obvious and the incorrect choice is kind of, I mean, it'll always be like, did I read it? Do I need to confirm it? Any answers? The author holds that Hi Maverick, how are you? What did you eat for dinner? What shows did you watch today? I am doing to Maverick what he does to me before he is going to do it to me. What did you read? How's life? Hashtag Jai Mahakal. So everybody has given the answer C, perfect. It is because I saw this. So I'm sure I saw this in that paragraph I just read right now. So for the purposes of the exam, get a map quickly and then do look at the questions, because otherwise if you read that whole paragraph and then come back, you will surely be extra confused. So if you're finding it difficult, try and minimize your reading, not go through everything. That is not the answer. Grabbing the idea is, and that may require some practice, right? General specific practice only. Can I try any other questions? Okay, maybe not. Okay. So let's try that that big paragraph just for surety. Actually, you can try out a couple of other questions, but just to be sure, because a very, very big paragraph. So let me, now I'm again going into that little bit of a deep dive writing. Everybody got the answer right. So I'm guessing we are all on the same page. One of the chief motives of artistic creation. So chief motive is going to be fairly important, right? Chief motives of artistic creation is certainly the need of feeling that we are essential in relationship to the world. Inessential, the need of feeling that we are essential. So I will highlight that. I should do everything. So notice the journey. In perception we were inessential. Now there is a need to feel essential. And now what do you think is going to happen? He is going to elaborate how to become essential by creation. So let me follow the story. If I fix on a canvas, the moment I read this, I should understand that we are moving into specific territory. I can go a little faster maybe, right? And what is the idea? It is our need to become essential. If I fix on canvas or in writing certain aspect of the field or the sea or a look on someone's face, specific, 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 which I have disclosed, I am conscious of having produced them by condensing relationship, by introducing long story, but I hope the idea is very, very clear. By introducing order when there was none. Zoom is better. This particular software slows me down. So I hope we get the idea. What I'm trying to say is that if I understood this, I should understand the context of all of this conversation. That what is happening here is that he is trying to explain how the act of creation gives me those feelings of being essential. Are we together so far? And is general specific still working? Is my work still getting reduced? Can I still skim? That means another way of saying the same story. More blah 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 if I've got the idea. I think myself essential in relation to my creation. Okay, wow. So essentiality has been achieved. But reading revolves around conjunctions. But this time it is the created object which escapes me. But don't I already know this, that the object becomes inessential? So now he is going to explain this part, created object which escapes me. Right? So, and read this line also importantly, chief motives of artistic creation, whether it's writing or painting or whatever, is a need of feeling that we are essential in relationship to the world, because there might be a question around it, right? And he's now going to go and explain this part, that why the object escapes me or the object becomes inessential. So read it. It's actually slightly biggish, but let's read it together, and it might be interesting to learn as well. I cannot reveal and produce at the same time. The creation becomes inessential in relation to the creative activity. The creation becomes inessential. What has become inessential? The object has become inessential. So creation must refer to the object. Your brain should be making all of these connections simultaneously. First of all, that means he is going to now explain why the creation, and what does creation mean? Let's say if you're a potter or a carpenter and you make something, that is your creation, that is the object. So now he's saying the creative process is important, the object is not, which is dharma philosophy also, right? That do the karma, don't worry about the result. This is side commentary. Even if it appears to others as definitive, the created object always seems to us in a state of suspension, right? So let's say I create a course. Somebody will say, yeah, this course is full, but I know that it's just a thing that I'm making, and tomorrow it can change a little bit, or I hope you get the idea, right? So creation, and people might think it's definitive, but I know it's not there, and therefore the object is inessential because it's not fixed. I cannot fix on it. We can always change this line, that shade. Now I can go faster. Thus it never forces itself. A novice painter asked his teacher, what is this story going to be about? Active reading is asking question. This story is going to be about how the object is inessential, or how the object can't even probably be defined. So novice painter asked his teacher, when should I consider my painting fixed? What is the painting? Painting is the creation, painting is the object, is the specific of the object being discussed. And the teacher answered, when you can look at it in amazement and say to yourself, I am the one who did that, which amounts to saying never. Long story, I've got the idea, the object is never finished, or it is inessential. For it is virtually considering one's work with someone else's eye and revealing what has been created. But it is self-evident that we are proportionally less conscious of the thing produced and more conscious of our productive activity. So that's the idea, the creative process, the productive activity, rather than the product, rather than the object. Are we together so far? Yeah, slightly bigger, and then it becomes a concentration game. That's always the game anyway. But I'm getting the story, and I know it's about the object, not because I already read the summary, so it is going to be very easy for me to fix anything in the story, even if there are things that I do not understand. When it is a matter of poetry or carpentry, we work according to traditional norms with tools whose usage is codified. It is Heidegger's famous, so this is where people will get lost and fuzzy what's going on, but maybe whatever is fuzzy, ignore it, find a sentence that you can understand. In this case, in which case poetry or carpentry, the result can be seen to us sufficiently strange to preserve the objectivity in our eyes, because we are using the same, I mean, chairs are chairs and they have been made a certain way for 5,000 years. So there is a particular way of doing it. So if I make a chair, I can say, okay, have I made a chair? Yes, I have made a chair. But contrast to what? Notice this part again. Matter of poetry or carpentry, we work according to traditional norms. That's all you had to understand. The rest of the story you could have ignored for now. Though later you can find out who is Heidegger and what is his philosophy. Not very important right now though. But if we ourselves produce the rules of production, the rules of production were driven by the norms of society earlier. After the but, you yourself are making the rules of production. And again, what is this point? That the object will be inessential because you have your own rules. What is the criteria? How will you judge whether your art is complete or your project or object is complete or not? So, and that's definitely true for my story because yeah, so there were no rules when I started making it, right? That how to do it or what to do it or how much should be there. So I have my own rules. So the only judge is I mean, what are my norms and what are my processes as such. And therefore the object doesn't matter. I keep returning to the process. So this is a personal commentary for no good reason. But tell me if you understand the overall idea. Yes, yes. And I'm leaving some work to you. Why should I read all of it? I'm sure after this much, even the missing parts which I haven't read will make sense. Finally, the last paragraph. We can still look at a couple of questions in a second. In fact, let's do that. Let's try out question B. I think we have enough data to get cracking. Question number B, guys. It is the author's contention that should be obvious. Waiting for answers. Perfect, Maverick. Maverick says B. I just read it. The very act of artistic creation leads to the escape of the created object. The object becomes inessential in another language, or I think I read this language as well somewhere in the paragraph. So very easy, and rest of the things are just going to be completely kind of nonsensical. So even if you did not read that last summary, but you waded through that paragraph and you caught that idea, because it is being repeated a number of times. The paragraph is very big, but the idea is repetitive. So somewhere or the other, you could have caught it. I think we can answer this question, or we could have answered this earlier also. Yeah, Maverick says, I just thought it the idea object becomes inessential. Correct. C. Perfect, Maverick. Perfect. Essentiality and non-essentiality of objects and subjects, which I saw in that early summary anyway. If you want to visit it again. Notice this. In fact, so this line was way more important than a lot of the passage. Right? So this line, that one line could have opened up a lot of doors for you. and it might be worthwhile to maybe spend 15 seconds with just that one sentence and try and understand it or put it on a piece of paper. Left, perception creation, object essential. Don't even know what object subject means, but just A and B symbolize and move on. Because right now, let's say in a test scenario, your task is not to understand the passage. I mean, yes, it is to understand the passage as well. Not to understand how 100% every line, every sentence, but to mark the answers. And the examiner, once again, is not testing your philosophy knowledge, he is testing your reading skills. Have you read enough by chance or by accident? So, to be able to handle stuff like that. Now, those people who read a lot will be able to handle this. The same thing that I am doing, they do simply by reading a lot and trial and error as such. Here you are getting a condensed version of it. Okay, I think we can try one more question. Question E. A writer as an artist. Ragnar Lothbrok. I forgot the Viking accent. I will take the boat now. That's how they speak, right? And very gently, very softly. Is he Maverick? Maverick is on a fire. Is on fire. A writer as an artist makes us feel essential in relationship to the world. Now, actually, if you want to quote it like for the perfect answer, one of the chief motives of the artistic creation is the need of feeling that we are in essential relationship to the world. So that's the art, and therefore writing also as a subset of art is going to do the same thing. And you will find later with enough investigation reveals look at the choices, reveals the essentiality of revelation. What? It creates reality, reveals nature in its permanence. So all the options have a couple of words from the passage from here and there, and if your understanding is foggy, you will say, yeah, bro, the choices were very close, bro, but they're not. Are we okay with this? So this and you could have been also been selective about it, read a couple of paragraphs, got a couple of questions, move on from the passage, find an easier one, right? In any exam, this would be the tougher one. Now, the art of writing manifests the dialectic of perception and creation. So, first of all, repeat in your head what is the dialectic of perception and creation, and then read this paragraph, which I will leave up to you to do it, and try out the question. I think you will get it right. Everybody will get it right if you have made it so far. Yes? I'm leaving that homework up to you. This is the sheet we were discussing, CAT 99, passage 3. If you're wondering where is passage 2 from CAT 99, it was done a few years back, and it's still a very good passage to work out. And it's again on art, but this time about argument and counter argument about whether abstract artists were good or not. So if you're a, yeah. So even this was an interesting passage. Try it out later if you haven't already done so. Maverick should have done this passage by now, right? This. I have this tendency to stick to one passage and attempt all questions in it. No, it's not necessary. If you're feeling that uncertainty, why incur a wrath? First, get your accuracy going for a couple of maybe 3-4 days in your test, etc. And once that is there, then maybe go and mark everything, and then visit a temple or slash a church or mosque and do some shaman worship, etc. Get all the gods on your side, which is obviously the most important thing. So yeah, we'll talk about that also, about selecting easier passages, and even that selection of which passage to do will come from a preview. So let's say if there are 4 passages or 5 passages, what you first do is spend a minute reading all of them, previewing all of them without even going in any detail, and see which one are easy to read, which one can you read smoothly, and which one makes you stutter or stammer and slow down again and again. Plus the preview will also get your brain warmed up, your brain behind will be thinking, okay, I'm ready. So by the time you hit the passage again, you'll be like fully armed and ready and like very, very devastatingly forceful. So preview is definitely part of the selection of the passage process for the exam, not only for RC, also for DILR. You must do the preview. There preview is a slightly different thing. There you read the question, and previewing also means trying to run a couple of logic steps before deciding whether the logic steps are coming or not. Here it is just simple reading and figuring out whether it's easy to read or difficult to read. Subject familiarity does not matter. I hear a lot of things that, oh, read science also, read this also, read, which is all good advice in long term as such. But let's say for the purposes of the exam, work on your skills. The subject, the topic does not matter. I am looking at a 100% score. Like that should be the mindset in RC at least. Why? Because it's a open test bloody exam. और मैवरिक और कोई दुख भरी कहानी भी सुनानी है, बताओ सब. कभी खुशी वाली भी. Okay, so I guess that's it for this particular session. I want to, I mean, CAT 17, CAT 18, CAT 19, a lot of other CATs are already on the course page. So my contention is that if you have gone through all CAT passages, what does remain? So I don't care about the subject, but I'll still try and go through more denser passages for a little more practice. However, the score will come from those easy passages and building speed there. So there are some sessions on speed building, or how to go through easy passages. At least you can do very, very quickly. So work on that as well. Don't make a fetish out of difficult things. The test is all about easy things. सर बेरोजगार है, मैं बेरोजगार हूँ. So that's it. Any other quick questions? If slow down, use your opposable thumbs, hit the like button, tell a friend about it. Sir, please some send nice articles to read as well. मैं बेरोजगार हूँ. Yeah, you will find it. So that's it. My name is Ankur Suryavanshi, and my courses are available here. I meant मैं बेरोजगार हूँ. I'll post the link. Anubhav Tripathi, how to unlock your YouTube videos? How about purchasing a course? All the videos are available here, and a lot of work is available on YouTube, but how much, right? How much? Yeah, and they're not very expensive at all. I mean, yes, right now it looks expensive if you look at all of, but if you look at a maths course or something, I think it'll be plus these are with lifetime options and everything. So if you don't want that, then yeah. Okay, thank you. See you guys soon with the next passage. But pretty much I'm thinking if you've gone through the whole core section, VARC, my recommendations are definitely CR, definitely summary selection, and then at least definitely CAT 17, 18, 19. They turned out to be very, very good discussions, very fruitful. So please run through them. There are a few passages pending from each of them. I will run through them again. I did a session earlier, but I think they got deleted. So that's it for today. I shall see you guys soonly. Hi, uh, my name is. You have to do it when you're just about to hit end, right? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. What is my name? My name is Heisenberg. It still didn't time right. Damn it.